So let's jump in. Today is all about hormonal acne. And a little spoiler alert, all acne is hormonal acne. Of course, it can show up in different ways. So a lot of you consider hormonal acne to be when you just break out just before your period. And those breakouts tend to be along your jawline and can sometimes come back around the ears and onto your neck. That is typically what we call hormonal acne. But all acne is hormonal because all acne is stimulated in some way by androgen hormones. These are hormones that include testosterone, DHEA. These are hormones that naturally occur in both men and women. Women also need a good amount of testosterone to have healthy bodies and healthy skin. The problem is, right before our period, our body starts creating more testosterone. It's just the way it is. You have a month of hormones as women. We have this month of hormones and they go in a little wave. And right before our periods, we get that jump in testosterone. That is why so often we treat hormonal acne with birth control, because birth control completely suppresses that process. Most birth controls are very high estrogen, and estrogen actually can suppress those testosterone and strong androgen hormones. So it can try to suppress that sebum production that is brought on by testosterone and different androgen hormones. But the problem with that is it is just masking this, and as soon as you come off of hormonal birth control, as many of you know, you have this huge influx of testosterone as your body starts to try to figure itself back out, and you have that huge wave of enlarged sebum, those enlarged sebaceous glands, and more sebum production coming from them, which equals more acne. Before we jump into a little more of this, I know I tell you guys this all the time, but the main key ingredients for breakouts is sebum production, bacteria, the C. acne bacteria that eats that sebum and poops out this fatty acid that causes inflammation and rupturing within the hair follicle, and inflammation. So that is your kind of gross recipe for acne. Of course, there's also the fact that our skin cells will try to block our pores, which creates the optimal environment for that C. acne to just hang out in there, eating that sebum, creating inflammation. So the key ways to prevent acne or to treat acne is exfoliating away those skin cells that are holding in all the bacteria and sebum in your pore, reducing sebum or removing sebum, and killing bacteria. These are our best ways of treating acne. So with that in mind, let's jump into hormonal acne. So for those of you that are experiencing hormonal acne that is just coming up along the jawline, maybe it only happens just before your period, the first thing I want to say is that your body does that because it's supposed to. In order to have a healthy hormone cycle, your body is always going to have that uptick in androgen and testosterone just before your period starts. When your body is in an optimal, perfect state, your hormones are perfectly balanced, it's going to do that. That is just the way that our bodies work. So we are always going to be more likely to get a couple pimples during that time of the month. So just accepting that that might just be a part of your body, that's just showing that your body is doing what it needs to do. It's doing these fluctuations in hormones and acknowledging that. But if you are getting a lot of breakouts, more than 1 or 2 pimples per month, then there could be a lot more going on, and there are absolutely ways that we can come at this cycle. So looking at this cycle as a testosterone increase that is creating more sebum for your C. acne bacteria to munch on, then we want to start with ways that we can kind of balance out this testosterone spike. Make sure it's not too much, because you can have a testosterone spike that is too much. It is flooding your skin with too much sebum. And the first kind of direction that I want to combat this is diet. And I know diet is really hard. Everyone has their own eating habits and their own relationship with food and diet. But diet plays such a huge piece in acne, and even more so in hormonal acne. So I don't want to go in and tell you guys what to eat, what not to eat, but I'm going to give you some really helpful baselines that you can try to hit to help with balancing that testosterone spike and keeping your hormones more balanced and preventing those breakouts during that time of the month. And the first thing is really to avoid high glycemic foods. And the bare minimum would be to avoid those high glycemic foods in the 2 weeks before your period. But optimally, for clear skin, try to avoid these as much as you can or really minimize these high glycemic foods. That includes potatoes, white bread, highly processed gluten products, so like white bread, different muffins, things that are highly processed, things that use high fructose corn syrup, highly processed flours. I brought a list here so I can tell you guys them all. Obviously there's more than this, but things like cornflakes, instant noodles, white rice. If it's white, fluffy, and sweet, probably not a good idea. Of course, there's probably going to be some things you guys can think of that are fine under that. But if you think about it, white, fluffy, sweet, try to eat those things in very small amounts. Sugar is the same thing. So when you're eating a ton of sugar, it is raising insulin, which is actually creating more sebum. So when you have high insulin levels, it is interacting with your body and it is also creating that enlarged sebaceous gland and more sebum. So if you're eating a high sugar diet, this is boosting insulin. This is going to give you more flare-ups before your period. It's going to also influence your hormones so much that this is happening outside of that week before your period. So like I said, some people choose to avoid these things the 2 weeks before their period, but for optimal clear skin, try to avoid and really diminish the amount of these foods that you are eating really at all. These are some of the, generally known as not so good for you foods. Some other foods that are going to be very inflammatory, because remember, inflammation is a very key part of breakouts, is going to be alcohol. So try avoiding alcohol as much as you can. Really, keep it down. I know we live in an alcohol-fueled society and we love to hang out with our friends and have a drink, but really try to minimize or cut back if you're really serious about getting your skin clear, because it will make a huge difference, I promise. Same with high fructose corn syrup. Those glucose boosting foods are going to wreak havoc on your healthy hormone cycle. So that's all that I will jabber at you about diet. I know that everyone's trying to eat healthier, but these are really key things that you can do to keep your skin more clear. Dairy can also be a trigger for some people. It can also depend on how much dairy you're eating. So if it's just a little bit here and there, it can be less of a problem than if you are someone who drinks, a large glass of milk every single day, or lots of cream cheese. Like that could really be contributing. So experiment. Try cutting dairy out completely and see how it affects your skin. You'll never know until you try eliminating certain things from your diet. Gluten can also be a trigger for some people, not everyone, but some people do. So if you think it might be, just cut out gluten for a couple months. If you're going to cut out gluten, hold off on cutting off the dairy or vice versa, because then you won't know exactly what it is. If you cut out everything at once, you won't be able to pinpoint what it is, unless you cut out everything at once, your skin gets clear, and then you start adding one thing back in at a time. And if your skin flares up, then you know what's causing it. I kind of want to debunk, a lot of people like to say that eggs are a culprit for breakouts, but unless you're eating a dozen eggs a day, there's not nearly enough biotin in an egg to cause breakouts. So I hear that myth so often, but just try to eat like pastured eggs that are out there eating their normal food. Eggs that are eating a high corn and soy diet can be higher in acne triggers, but I think if you're eating 2 eggs for breakfast, I want to debunk that. That's not going to be causing all of your breakouts. Eggs are so good for you and a really good source of protein and healthy fats, which are so important. Very important for happy, healthy skin. So before I jump onto a few more things, I want to touch on gut health real quick. So gut health actually influences your hormones. There's a huge hormone-gut connection. So if you have really imbalanced gut, really unhappy or backed up gut, that can also very much affect the way that your hormones are interacting with your skin. So if you have really unhealthy gut, really think about cleaning up your diet, because that's going to be the first way to get a healthy gut. Once you've cleaned up your diet, then you can start adding in a really good probiotic. We have one on the website, the Terraflora. This is the advanced care. So this one is, you only do one round of this, then you move on to their daily care or their immune care. Those are their 2 daily probiotics. But this is serious stuff. This really goes in and it attacks the pathogenic bacteria. So all the bad bacteria in your gut, it will help kill and flush that out. So you will feel a little activity there. You start slow with this. There's very clear instructions in the box when you get this probiotic. So it's very clear how you want to use it. You're going to slowly use it and you will feel it's going to clean you out a little bit and just really reset your gut. But this does not replace a good diet. Healthy foods, cutting back sugar, cutting back alcohol, eating whole foods rather than highly processed foods. Do that first, then you can start really going in and fixing your gut. So that's really important to hormone health as well. And then stress is also a really big one. Stress is raising cortisol. Cortisol actually releases insulin, and this is actually a smart process, but it doesn't make as much sense now. So think of this like, a couple hundred years ago, when we had a stress response, it was because we were being physically threatened. We had a stress response because a lion was chasing us. And an insulin spike in that moment is really helpful because that insulin spike gives you the energy you need, that sugary energy that you can use to power your body and get the heck away from that lion as fast as possible. The problem is now we have these things that are triggering stress, triggering cortisol, and we don't need that insulin spike. We have so much stress day to day, and these things don't require us to go run away from a lion. So keep in mind that stress is a huge trigger. I want to talk more about stress next week. Next week's episode is all about stress. So we're going to talk a little bit more about how the stress cycle and cortisol affects acne and how we can go about it. So come back next week to learn more about the stress and acne connection. So moving on, another key part of hormones is our liver. Our liver helps us process out hormones that we don't need or excess hormones. So if our body is unable to process excess hormones, it's going to affect our hormonal cycle and cause breakouts. So liver health is very important. The first part for liver health, again, I keep saying it, but diet is the first step for liver health. If your liver is constantly overloaded by having to process alcohol, toxins, highly processed foods, it's going to be really hard for it to do all the other things that it needs to do. It's going to be overloaded working on other tasks. So clean up that diet, stop drinking quite so much alcohol, or maybe not at all, but I'm biased because I don't drink alcohol, but if you can cut it back, that's really going to help your liver, and your liver will be able to process hormones and toxins a lot better. You can boost this process. So we do have our Live Detox, this one. So Live Detox is a complex of whole food extracts that help with your body's natural process of detoxing. If you are just beginning to take this, I recommend taking just 1 capsule once a day for about a week, then increasing to the 2 capsule dosage that's on the bottle. I find that when you're in that detox place, drink lots and lots of water, and know that your body might have a little bit of a response to that because you're getting things moving. If nothing happens or responds, just go straight to that 2 pills a day, and that's going to really help with your body processing out excess testosterone. This is amazingly helpful if you're coming off of birth control. So if you're going to come off of birth control, you're planning on doing it, make sure that you are really boosting your liver health and your gut health for several months before you get off of it. And that's going to really soften the transition because those detox pathways are already there. You can detox out the hormones and you're going to get balanced out a little bit easier because your gut health is going to be good and your liver health is good. So getting on Live Detox before going off birth control is helpful, but if you've already gone off of it and you're experiencing some crazy fluctuations and breakouts, grab some Live Detox. Drink lots of water. You might have a little bit of like a headache or something for a day or two. That's your body detoxing, so just make a mental note of that. I also want to touch on ClearStem's MINDBODYSKIN. So this actually already has milk thistle in it, which is for liver detox. So this is a really unique supplement, and I like what they did here. So the creators of ClearStem They run an acne clinic in San Diego, and they actually started sending their clients to a doctor to get a blood panel done. So they've had hundreds of clients that they were working with get these panels done, and they saw that they were deficient. They were all deficient in some of the same things. So when they made this supplement, they added things that were very commonly in low amounts in their hormonal acne and acne clients. So when you see the vitamin B12 in there, it's because a lot of acne clients don't have enough B12. And some people say the B12 is a trigger, but that's if you're taking too much B12. This is only 50% of your daily dose of vitamin B12. We're talking about supplements that are like 500% your daily value. Those are going to trigger a breakout. But this also has DIM in here. DIM is a natural supplement that will help your body balance your own hormones. So it's going to help you promote that detox of excess hormones as well. This is the same active ingredient that's in DHT block, which I know many of you love DHT block. This is also a supplement for hormonal acne, and this is just the DIM, as well as plant extracts that help with detox and liver health. So you're going to get a larger dosage of the DIM and DHT block, but you still get quite a bit in the MINDBODYSKIN. I think if I had to choose one, maybe 6 months ago I would have said DHT block, but I've been using the ClearSTEM for 6 months or so, and I took 2 months off of it in the middle, and I regretted it. My skin started breaking out, and I was much oilier, had a lot more sebum production. So I will say they have two versions. They have MINDBODYSKIN no 5-HTP, and they've got MINDBODYSKIN regular. And I really prefer the no 5-HTP for most people because 5-HTP is a really activating supplement. It's supposed to give you energy, raise your mood, but it can be really intense and kind of create some manic energy and some stress and anxiety in people. And you just never know how someone's going to react to that supplement. So unless you know that 5-HTP is an awesome supplement for you, I would just go with the no 5-HTP. I just don't think the reason they put it in there is because it is a mood enhancer. It can, be uplifting, and a lot of people with acne have depression. That's like a clinically shown problem. So I get why they wanted to put it in there, but I prefer the version without no 5-HTP. I just don't like messing with that stuff. It's very stimulating and intense and not my favorite supplement in the world, but I know some people swear by it. So these are all internal ways that we are looking at hormonal acne. So of course, topically, we're actually going to treat hormonal acne just as we would any acne. Because no matter what, we still have the sebum, the bacteria, and the skin cells that are covering the opening to the pore and letting that infection fester in there. So we are choosing products that are tackling acne in a really holistic way. We're looking at things that will help with that inflammation, killing bacteria, but also exfoliation. So I want to highlight ClearSTEM here because ClearSTEM was really formulated for adult acne, hormonal acne. So I'm just going to highlight a few of their products that I find to be really helpful. So the first product I want to pull up here is the VITAMINSCRUB. So what I like about this scrub is that it's also really foamy and cleansing. It's not just granular beads, it's granular beads mixed into a cleansing cleanser. So you can use this as your main cleanser. Of course, if you're wearing makeup, remove your makeup first with an oil cleanser or a cream cleanser. But then this is going to be your main treatment cleanser. And this is exfoliating away those dead skin cells so that we don't have those impacted cells with inflammation and infection going on underneath. So this important part of clearing acne is having something that is exfoliating. So you can use a chemical exfoliant or a scrub. I think scrubs are really, really helpful. If you have very inflamed acne, I don't recommend a scrub. If you have very inflamed acne, I'm going to recommend GENTLECLEAN. This is also very anti-inflammatory. This has vitamin C, so it's brightening. When you look at adult hormonal acne, it's a lot more likely to scar than adolescent acne because adolescents still have a large amount of growth factors existing in their skin that go to work and heal those spots and take care of pigmentation. But as we get older, we have a lot less growth factors and our skin is going to scar a lot easier and leave a mark. So I like that this gentle cleanser has vitamin C to help prevent those dark spots and to help brighten up the complexion. So those are their 2 cleansers. The scrub, if you do not have inflammation, the regular cleanser if you do have inflammation. The scrub is also amazing on the body. This is a really great body scrub, just saying. So 2 serums for you guys from ClearStem. The first one I want to touch on is, I always mix these up because one of them is orange inside. So I think the orange one is going to have an orange label, but it's not. So this one is the Clearity Serum. This is vitamin C, mandelic acid, and turmeric. So this is giving you the exfoliation you need. It is killing bacteria, because remember mandelic acid is antibacterial, antifungal, and vitamin C for brightening. So you are tackling a lot of concerns that folks with adult acne, hormonal acne have, but it's a really nice formula that you can use every day. To treat acne, you have to be killing that C. acne bacteria daily. It's a daily process. You have to use something that's going to help minimize that bacteria every single day. So I like that this serum can be used every day without any issues. Obviously, if you have really sensitive skin, take that with a grain of salt, but for most skin types, you can use this as your nightly serum, and this is going to really help with breakouts and brightening those spots. So I wanted to highlight that one. The other one, I feel like the serum doesn't get as much love as ClearStem's other serum, Bounce Back. Bounce Back gets so much love. It's such a lovely, lovely product. Still love that one. But CELLRENEW needs some highlighting because it is so anti-inflammatory. And it also helps balance sebum production because it has reishi mushroom extract. Reishi is an astringent and helps balance that sebum production. So this is going to be really helpful for really anyone who suffers from breakouts. This is also lightly hydrating, so for those with more sensitive or dry skin, this really gives you nourishment and that anti-inflammatory support. I love this little serum. You can use this twice a day or once a day, however you want to use it, but you would layer it on after Clearity. So use your Clearity, let it dry for 10 minutes, then layer on your CELLRENEW serum. And it does have a yellow color, so for that reason, if you're really fair, you might prefer to use this at night because it could leave a little bit of a yellow tone on your skin. That's from the turmeric. But if you have a darker complexion, you won't be able to see the yellow on your skin. You could use it during the day. So that is CELLRENEW serum. So next week, we're going to dive into stress and acne. And that is also going to be a very informational video. We're not going to really talk about all that many products. We're just going to dig into just that connection, that stress and acne connection, and kind of some holistic things that you can do to try to prevent those stress breakouts from happening. I know it's really hard. It's really hard to minimize stress because we don't plan for stress. Stress happens unplanned, and it's really hard to mitigate. But we will dig into that next week.